วัสดีค่ะ Good morning ARC participants and distinguished guests. My name is Dr. Cecilia and I will be the MC for the ARC opening ceremony this morning. We are live streaming on our Facebook page on St. John's University page. I think the link will be shared with you later on. It's live. Yes. This year's inauguration of the 10th International Roundtable of the ARC will be officiated by the ARC leadership, namely ARC Director, Father Franz Joseph Eilers, ARC Deputy Director, Father Anthony Leduc, and St. John's University Chancellor, Ajahn Chainarong. They will now come up on stage and light the candles. They will now beat the gong to signify the opening of this year's roundtable. Now the Chancellor of St. John's University, Ajahn Chainarong, will welcome all of you with his remarks.
สวัสดีครับ Good morning and welcome. On behalf of St. John's University, I warmly welcome you all to Bangkok and to this meeting of the 10th Roundtable of Asian Research Center for Religion and Social Communication, or in short ARC. We are pleased to see all of you and are excited of what we expect will be an exciting week and productive discussion of a contemporary concern on religious communication in multicultural Asia. Allow me to give you a brief history of the ARC. History is important because it provides a shoulder on which to stand as we address current challenges. The Asian Research Center for Religion and Social Communication is the result of the collective effort of Asian communication specialists who met in the Roundtable Conference held at Assumption University in Bangkok. We have a representative from Assumption University this morning. It was in April 1999, or 19 years ago. This group of 23 communication specialists led by Father Dr. Franz Joseph Eilers gathered to discuss the need to conduct in-depth communication research and unanimously made a proposal to set up the Asian Research Center to address the needs and effects of the new culture brought about by modern communications on people, cultures, and societies. Since then, the ARC has been in active partnership with St. John's University, Bangkok. And the Roundtable on Religion and Social Communication of the ARC has emerged as a regular academic activity of the center, and as you can see, this is the 10th Roundtable, International Roundtable already. Each roundtable tries to study the field of social communication as the communication of and in human society in Asia. This year it is about religious communication in multicultural Asia. And in a few moments, Father Franz Joseph Eilers, who is the ARC director, will give us some considerations in his address on this theme. By the way, congratulations to Father Eilers, who early this year has been awarded the prestigious 2018 AMIC Asia Communication Awards. It is in the category of transformative leadership. So congratulations, Father Eilers. Technological development over the last 10 years, as we know, especially the globalization of social media, has created a communications environment characterized by more numerous relationships, faster dissemination, and less time for reflection and response. The digital technology, which creates more open and participative environment, feature less private communication and more sharing of communication and information. News and information sources have multiplied, often resulting in a role reversal between traditional media and their audiences. Information, gossip, and fake news now travel alongside one another. This panorama poses challenges, but at the same time offers opportunities for those like all of us here working in religions and communications. In the message of Pope Francis for this year's World Communications Day, the Holy Father observes that a profound and careful process of discernment is needed in order to prevent disinformation and identify the way it works. He notes that fake news often goes viral because it appeals to human beings' insatiable greed. The Pope also cites the importance of teaching people how to discern, interpret, and assess information provided by the media, and teaching them to take an active part in unmasking falsehood rather than unwittingly contributing to the spread of disinformation. There are quite a number of studies and books have been published on religion and internet, social media, and on digital religion, but hardly any of these publications consider the situation of Asia and their challenges in a special way. And that's why at this 10 roundtable this week, we will have opportunities to go in depth into this field. May I invite you to fully share your knowledge and experiences. Don't keep them to yourself. After all, this is a roundtable. I am convinced that each and every one of us in this room are the greatest in the field. Therefore, embrace one another's passion as we discuss on relations and challenges of religion and social communications. Again, welcome to St. John's. May you enjoy this exciting roundtable and the hospitality the staff of St. John's have to offer. Thank you.
Anthony Leduc will present to you his message on the ARC, its vision for the present and the future.
Good morning. Friedrich Max Müller, the German scholar of religion, once said of the study of religion as follows: "He who knows one knows none." While Müller's famous words refer to religion, specifically the field of comparative religion, one can arguably say that the same sentiment can be equally applied to the study of cultures. This is the more true in the Asian context, where the line between culture and religion, if there is one, is extremely thin. Indeed, research has shown that one's culture is integrally tied to his or her religious beliefs and convictions. Some research has even asserted that religion in itself is a culture. While experts may hold different perspectives in this respect, what is indisputable is that the passing on of religious and cultural beliefs and practices rely on communication methods that are particular to each religio-cultural context. Communication is also essential in how a particular religion is perceived by another. The interplay between religion, culture, and communication is a vast and expansive area of investigation and reflection. Part of the reason is that each of these areas in itself is already a subject of tremendous research and discussion. And the understanding about religion, culture, and communication is continually changing due to the transitioning of global society into the digital age, where digital technology is sure to have significant effects on religious and cultural beliefs and practices. The Asian Research Center for Religion and Social Communication, also known as ARC, through our modest efforts, have been responding to the need for examining and articulating about this nexus of religion, culture, and communication since its inception in 1999 at Assumption University, as Ajahn Chanarong has just mentioned. During this roundtable of 23 Asian scholars on the theme of church, religion, and social communication research, sponsored by the Federation of Asian Bishops' Office of Social Communication, it was proposed that ARC would be established. While ARC was originally an initiative of the FABC, an Asian Catholic body, its actual aims and work have been inclusive of all the Asian traditions. By promoting research, discussion, and publication of relevant academic studies related to religion and social communication across traditions in Asia, ARC has helped to foster interreligious dialogue and cooperation in the field. As Asia enthusiastically enters the digital age with increasing internet penetration, even among the continent's developing countries, vociferous use of social media, and high tendency for owning technological gadgets, the relationship between religion, culture, and communication will present new experiences and challenges to investigate. In this new milieu, academic and interreligious platforms like ARC continue to hold great relevance in the effort to facilitate mutual exchange and collaboration. Despite the dire predictions of numerous social scientists since the last century that as society advances scientifically and technologically, humanity would shed its tendency for religious beliefs, reality has not been consistent with theory. The homo religiosus continues to make his presence known and felt in academic institutions, the marketplace, and indeed in cyberspace. Even if we can detect certain mutations in the religious gene of people around the world, it has been far from being extricated from the human DNA. If anything, empirical evidence shows that human beings are as programmed for religion as ever, to use a terminology more consistent with the present technological mindset. As part of the ARC leadership team and organization committee of the 10th ARC Roundtable entitled Religious Communication in Multicultural Asia, Realities, Experiences, Challenges, I hope that those who have come to participate in this year's event, as well as those who are graciously attending the opening ceremony this morning, will continue to support ARC in its mission and aims as we journey through a transitioning social, religious, cultural, and scientific landscape. As academics and people of religious beliefs, we are as much explorers of intellectual knowledge as we are co-pilgrims heading towards the ultimate. It is my hope that the activities in the next few days reflect this positive outlook for each of us collectively and individually. Thank you.
Thank you, Father Anthony. The main part of this morning's inauguration is the speech by Father Franz Joseph Eilers, the ARC Director, who will present to us some considerations on this year's theme, which is religious communication in multicultural Asia. Father Eilers, please.
Thank you very much. I think this is a generational thing also. I am having assistance for my PowerPoint. It's already, you could do it from there. Very good. So I might repeat a few things, but passing only. I hope I can fill in a little bit the gaps, not gaps, fill in the situation. In Chiang Mai, the participant from Israel, a Jewish participant, Joel Cohen. And this Joel Cohen published recently a book on reporting religion around the world, where he presents in 6 sections reports from different countries of the world. Most of these texts are basically case studies, but one contribution triggered me specially, and I think this is the outstanding contribution in that book, is by Daniel Stout. Daniel Stout is the editor of the Routledge Encyclopedia on Religion, Communication and Media, which points to the fact that in the United States, religion is now not anymore to be considered only and through media, as he did actually in a book he published, Media and Religion, but now it is rather not media anymore, it is rather convergence. Convergence of different means, contents, and presentations where interested participants and parties have a whole array from where to pick and be involved in different levels and means, leading to a convergence far beyond the somehow limited, quotation mark, old media orientation. I am really impressed by that and triggered by that. What he describes there for the US holds also for other countries and also for Asia, and is on countries on religion and social communication. And it is much more from the single media, not only limited means of communication. This definitely can also be said about Asia, where in a rapidly growing way convergence takes place, including and beyond cyberspace. This can actually also be seen in a certain structural developments. While in the past there were communication institutions, media, and their representatives, journalists for example, at the center, and as driving forces, this is not anymore the case in converging communication situations, where everybody can be a communicator everywhere, even without any special formation and even mission. Now, communication is not anymore somehow a one-way street, but a conglomerate with still quite uncertainties, though which still have to be addressed and considered also by and for religions. Also for them, it is not anymore the single communicator, but the converging society which communicates. It must be seen as such. We do not just train single journalists anymore, but must see the converging society which communicates and must be seen as such. It is not anymore how to do, but rather what does the present situation demand, expect, need, and quotation mark allow, how to respond to it in a creative and convincing way. We have to radically move from sender, message, receiver to the needs and expectations of a converging society. No religion is spared from such a development and need to find answers, especially in Asia, where the cultural dimensions of religion are an essential part. There is no genuine Asian culture and culture in general, actually, without the holy. Actually, the expression convergence is a footnote in a way, which is not expressed by Stout, but the expression convergence in communication fields, those who have knowledge of it, reminds us already on the convergence model of communication, which Everett Rogers and Lawrence Kincaid developed already and presented in 1981, based on their field work in Korea. They had field work in Korea and developed already a communication model, convergence model of communication, which Stout apparently does not know or does not mention. Communication means converging with each other, not only technically but also personally, and even between different groups of people. As for the Catholic Church, the relation of communication to culture was already somehow expressed in the proposal of the document of the Second Vatican Council, Inter Mirifica on Social Communication, 1963, which introduced the expression social communication in and for human society, which, however, even up to today, seems not to be fully understood also by some church-related media people, as is reflected in the recently reorganized Vatican structure, where there is a Secretariat for Communication, but the social is left out. Apparently, following the advice of media people, but not the reality. All this might remind us also on the history and origin of our research center, which was mentioned already by John Shinarong, which was proposed by an international group of scholars in 1999, almost 20 years ago. They discussed at Assumption University here in Bangkok the need for proper and systematic research in religion and social communication, which led to the creation of our Asian Research Center. St. John's was offering to house the new initiative under the leadership of Professor Shinarong, and it was officially opened November 1999 by Bishop George Pimphizan, at that time Communication Bishop of the Bishops' Conference of Thailand, who was still till his death, and last year enthusiastic reporter should be commemorated as one of our founders. This is a picture of the opening 19 years ago, and we should commemorate Bishop George Pimphizan. Now to come back to the center, the concerns of the center are reflected also in our Journal for Religion and Social Communication, which is in a growing way also internationally recognized and quoted, now in its 16th year. Besides the periodical, we started also a book series with the University of Santo Tomas Publishing House in Manila, where the first 2 volumes were edited by our friend Binot, and the 3rd volume is in the making, with the first 2 volumes and done. Beyond these activities, our concerns for research and study have been up till now only a small step. We were not able yet to develop a further and more systematic research in the field which should have been done. There are quite some possibilities and initiatives in Asia which wait for our cooperation and developments. This is not only a question of finances, but also of personnel and proper visions and concerns. And all this not only for one religion, but for all of them who mostly originate in Asia and from Asia. Our roundtable in Chiang Mai with the Buddhist university there and our Indian experience and experiences in Ahmedabad and Bhubaneswar, could be seen as a small initiative in this direction. There we, however, also realized the limitations of such initiatives and the need for further deepening and development. We probably need more mutual exchange and cooperation with other universities and academic institutions in other Asian countries, including Thailand. Thus, for example, the Singaporean Asian Research Center of the National University there, sometimes they have related things to religion already, and I personally would like to cooperate with them one way or the other, but it is difficult sometimes for different reasons. And I would like to give you a few examples now of recent initiatives where religion came into different organizations and different conferences. So the first one is a conference going to be organized by the French-speaking Catholic University in Louvain, France, Belgium. They have announced international, this is a quotation of the title, International Colloquium Relicom 2019 for March next year, 21-22, under the title Religions and the Digital, Metamorphosis and Conversions, posing the following three questions. What do religions do with connected digital, and what do they do to be connected digital? Second, what does the connected digital do to religions? How do religions form, reappear, transfigure, and more or less metamorphosed in digital spaces? 3. How do religious practices find themselves affected, if they are, by a partial digitalization of the production of religious meaning? So it sounds very, very familiar to our concerns. And this is French-speaking Louvain University. The organizers there say that they, and there's a quotation from them, wish to examine the current reality of religious digital and of digital religions. End of quotation. But also they assure that, the quotation again, the digital is a full-fledged context of life and the expression of social reality in constant interaction with the rest of the human and social experience. For the presentation of the papers, they have organized, or the organizers want to make the following 8 listings. Analysis of religious supports and digital devices. Second, discourse, handbooks, and theorizations of religious digital. Third, actors in religious digital. 4, religious activity in its digital version. 5, religious institutions and the digital world. 6, religions and socio-political mobilization of the digital. 7, new religions in the internet. 8, the critique of religions, parodies, and diversions. A very interesting example. Sounds to me a little bit like a repetition of our own concerns over years. To give you another example, is from the University of the Philippines in Los Baños, the College of Development Communication. Next month they are going to have a meeting on DEFCOM, theorizing new perspectives, innovative practices, and future developments. DEFCOM means development communication, and it is the birthplace of the concept of development communication many years ago. And they will gather scholars and practitioners to establish common grounds for examining the theorizing in DEFCOM, share innovative practices, draw new perspectives, and set a framework and future direction in DEFCOM theorizing, as the announcement says. Within this concern and the program, there is also one presentation on religion and social communication, which never had been before. So this is another initiative along our own lines. A third example is, Mrs. Haro mentioned that already, AMIC, the conference in AMIC last year, and also this year, AMIC in India, they include also an award for studies religion communication. So before it was excluded, now it is part of AMIC already, they make it part of them. Another example The last of the examples here is a further example from growing importance of studies on religion and communication I came across just these days. In a note is the Robert Schumann Center for Advanced Studies of the European University Institute in Florence, looking for a person, a candidate specializing, now quotation, radicalization, secularism, and the governance of religion, bringing together European and Asian perspectives as a project of the Institute. So a European Institute taking our concerns in a way from Asia also into their program. The candidate, they're looking for somebody to apply for the position. The candidate, it says there, is expected to have expertise in the issues of governance, of cultural and religious diversity, multiculturalism theory and practice, secularism theory and practice, religious radicalization and issues of resilience, and combating radicalization. So these examples show that we are not alone, but might have to make a greater effort to lead us also to greater cooperation with existing universities and programs in Asia and beyond. Now to give some more, a little bit general thing more on the background. For a human society, religion is an essential part, and especially our Asian cultures are deeply related and even based on the holy. The nominus of Rudolf Otto Scholz is in his famous study, The Idea of the Holy. I'm always impressed by these things. It's one of the basic studies. After more general considerations there, he refers also to the means and ways of communicating, and he talks there, for example, on the special chapter on the means of expression of the nominus, dividing them into direct and indirect means, but also refers also to other means by which the nominus is expressed in art. So this is his keyword and buzzword. For the direct means, he lists the living voice, which passes on to the other person's mind. So the way I speak passes on to the other minds of the other person. The manner and tone and voice, the manner, the reflection with the nominus, because the mere word, even when it comes as a living voice, is powerless without the spirit in the heart of the hearer to move him to apprehension. Because, it is quotation from him, this spirit is inborn, the inborn capacity to receive and understand is the essential thing. He also refers in this chapter, beside the nominus expressed in pieces of art, also necessity of silence. He talks about the Chinese culture. He talks about Buddhism. So it's a very interesting and kind of key study and key publication. What can we learn from all this, and how can we consolidate respective insights on religion and communication? For a proper academic approach and research in religions in Asia, Japanese scholar Satoshi Ishii has proposed the tri-world communication study from Buddhist perspectives, where he defines the paradigm as, quotation, a comprehensive unit of assumptions, hypotheses, and methods that guide theory construction and research directions. He proposes to move from an American-centered methods away to Asian realities, also for communication and religion research, noting that in the American approach, culture is rarely explicitly taken in consideration, but in Asia it is different, because culture is in American usually not regarded as a variable. For a role and relation of religion and communication, he distinguishes two different worldviews, which are so determine the respective communicative approaches and models for Asian cultures and beyond. The two models he presents are the monotheistic and the polytheistic world view, which also determine the flow of communication and its religions. We should see this here. If I have a kind of I have put it here. See, he takes on the left. You see the monod. What? How do? That one? Here. He uses the monotheistic. This is Christianity, Jewish, and Islam. God is here, human beings, and natural. So it's kind of hierarchy here, this monotheistic view, worldview. The other worldview is then what he calls the pantheistic or polytheistic view. Say here are gods, goddesses, deities, and here natural beings and the human beings. So nature, humans, goddesses. So that is what he calls the polytheistic or pantheistic worldview. So which worldview are we going to take? But I think in our concerns we are concerned about both. We don't make a distinction there. But I found it very interesting and good to be aware of these things. I like this model here, to be aware of the situation we are talking about. So my question would be, for example, is there a comparison in the relation between the two? And how far? Something like that. So many questions coming up. This is just a basic model for research and religion and social communication, and which we are very often not aware of things. No? So let me see. See, they determine also the flow of communications and its relations. In the monotheistic view, I stand on a human and natural beings somehow separate, resting in themselves, but still related with each other in a kind of hierarchical way with God on top. This is the perspective of Judaism, Christianity, Islam. In the polytheistic worldview, the boundaries between God, goddess, deity, and human beings and natural beings are interrelated with each other in somehow equal way. A view and approach which he attributes to the ancient Greek-Roman religions, but as well as to Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, and so on. He sees this triangular arrangement of the three worlds as not hierarchical but dynamic and changeable according to the contextual changes from where he develops, he calls it the tri-world communication studies in Buddhism. So here is not the place, of course, to go further discuss this proposed in detail. But for an Asian and even general perspective on religion and communication in Asia, it might be considered as an important proposal, as a general background, and for our concerns and studies. Now, after this, finally, in our present situation, to change a little bit that into general, we live actually permanently online and permanently connected, which becomes a new field of communication studies. For some 42 scholars, mainly from German universities, have presented their insights and proposals under the title Permanently Online, Permanently Connected, Living and Communicating in a POPC World. That was a quotation. And this is a new publication. They present their contributions under the following headings: POPC, decision making; social dynamics, socialization, political participation, network life and well-being. See, so different areas. The whole book is 42 scholars present different dimensions of this POPC situation. See, but then there is nothing, is there said, about religious life, expectations, experience of people in a permanently online, permanently connected world. That is my own remark now, is in Christian understanding God not always online, available, since the beginning and permanently connected, if we want? Are there any ways to connect also such a reality with modern communication experiences? If we are permanently online, permanently connected with God, also our life and actions should reflect this, here and now. Or how does Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism react and communicate in such a situation? Finally, on our roundtable, it should be the purpose of our present roundtable, but also in future, in my understanding, to try to take up this situation and go beyond the past ones in becoming more aware of communication realities in and for religions, not only in new technology and technical developments, but also with mindsets our mindsets, which are quite different today from, say, 10 years ago. At our first roundtable, the situation was quite different from our situation today. See, how is that? How is that? So for mutual information reflection, to go beyond the surface and hopefully develop visions for deeper understanding and experience of religion in our Asian realities. How can we consolidate our concerns and develop in a possibly more structured way? I'm talking about our own ARC. We need systematic study and research in communicative needs, approaches, systems, and practice of different religions in Asia. This means, for example, and these are some points I would see for the future also for ARC, first, to initiate and sponsor special studies and the respective researches. In the 10 years of our roundtable, we never were able to finance and sponsor special studies which are of our concern, something like that. So for me, that would be very important in the field, possibly supported to research or research fund. So another one, to animate academic institutions to design and develop formulate research needs and expectations. You hardly find anywhere university and any people where our concern is reflected one way or the other. On third, to make religious bodies, churches, institutions, temples more aware of their need to go deeper and beyond day-to-day concerns. We have quite some things day-to-day concerns, but hardly you find anywhere a thing which goes deeper into the root and asks what is going on there. And our roundtable should be contributing in that direction. Then another point, to encourage young interested students to develop their concerns along these lines. Do we do that? See, that would be one. And finally, to develop professional study and research programs for and with institutions and scholars in responding to the growing challenges of a digital environment. Some institutions, churches and religions, they talk in general blah blah about it, but hardly you find anywhere a serious study and going deeper what are the consequences of this. So these are some of my ideas and some points. I hope they contribute to our discussion and to our thinking. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father Iris. Next we will...
I should add, let me also take opportunity to thank the very special way the University of St. John's, especially Ajahn Chainarong, for their support and willingness to be the basis of our concerns and for almost 20 years. Next year is 20 years. So there should be a special word of thanks for all that. Okay? Thank you.
Every time you talk about me, you should also include Rector of St. John's University sitting at the back, Dr. Jula Kasem, who provides all the facility and supports.
The whole institution, I would say, you know? Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's an honor for us and for you, hopefully, as well.
Thank you.
And the microphone is now working. So that was the welcome dance, and what you have received is a traditional garland made of jasmine. It's a symbol of respect and also a blessing. So I hope you enjoy the snow. I wish I got one. Did not get one. And now for the last but certainly not least, it will be a Ram Hai Song, which is a folk dance of Thailand. Along with being very entertaining, the dance provides insight into the traditional lifestyle of the northeastern people, using various sizes of jars used to ferment pickled fishes as rhythmic musical instrument. The music itself, which you will hear, is called Pong Lang, the main rhythm controller. Of course, you will see the dancer expressing all the joy of the celebration. Please make note of the movement of the dancers and the choreography accompanied by the music with lively rhythm. Please enjoy. I hope you enjoy two cultural performances of our students. With these two dances, we will now conclude the inauguration ceremony with a group photo in front of this auditorium. May I request all the participants and guests to leave the room first. Students and faculty members of the university kindly remain in the room for a few more minutes until the photo session is over. Coffee and tea and soft drink are served to everyone at the library's ground floor, which is opposite from this auditorium. Please do not hesitate to meet and chat with our lecturers and students during the coffee break. ขอให้ผู้เข้าประชุมจากต่างประเทศแล้วก็แขกผู้เข้าร่วมประชุมออกจากห้องประชุมเพื่อถ่ายรูปหมู่ก่อนนะคะ ส่วนท่านอาจารย์และนักศึกษาของเซนต์จอห์นกรุณารอสักครู่ แล้วก็ขอเชิญทุกท่านไปพบปะพูดคุยกับแขกที่ประชุมในบริเวณห้องสมุดมีเครื่องดื่มบริการทุกท่านนะคะ